So now that we're recording and all official and everything, who would absolutely just love to do a meditation? 2 minutes just to bring us all together. So, oh, you guys. So, Mariki, you will do a little meditation on the way in, and who would want to do one on the way out? Or will we plan it later? Yeah, we plan it later. Okay, Mariki, 2 minutes, and just do your thing, and just let me know when you're handing it back. Oh, you're moving positions.
All right, cool. All right, guys, so we can just close our eyes for a second, find a nice safe space, lengthen through the crown of the head, and just place your feet firmly on the ground or sit up nice and tall. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale to sigh it out for a second. And again, inhale through the nose and exhale, exhale, exhale to sigh it out. Take a nice deep breath in and try and start focusing on your crown chakra, breathing in that beam of light that Bryan always reminds us of. And then exhale, 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 just feeling slightly softer, slightly more subtle. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Start focusing on that third eye chakra. And exhale. Focus your energy there. Opening that space for what we're about to learn. Deep breath in. And exhale, exhale, exhale. You can work your way down to your throat chakra. Envisioning the space for you to speak. And exhale, exhale, exhale. Take a deep breath in as we move the energy towards the heart chakra. Breathing into that space. Let it become nice and soft on your exhale. Warm. Let going of any anxiety, any fear. On your next deep breath in, try and shift your focus to your solar plexus chakra. Just breathing into that space. Finding your individuality. Exhale to manifest that. For the next breath in, move down to your sacral chakra. And exhale, exhale, exhale to acknowledge and allow yourself the feeling of pleasure. Deep breath in as we move all the way to the root chakra, envisioning the color red and focusing on to be here and to have. Just take a few breaths here. Nice deep breath in. See if you can align all 7 chakras. And exhale, exhale, exhale. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. And exhale, exhale, exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale, exhale, exhale. And when you're ready, just come back to your habitual breathing pattern. Find your own breath. Notice the sound in the room, the smell. And you can just lightly blink your eyes a few times. Come back to your space, opening your eyes, staying in that mindset. Welcome.
Lovely. I've realized when you started the meditation that you're definitely a Pilates instructor. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's something I call Pilates voice,
Mm-hmm.
and Pilates is much more instructional. You know, and that you softened, like you went slower and softer the farther along that you went. So
Yeah.
what I would suggest is just keeping this in mind, is that every time you're going to do yoga or teach meditation, is changing to the yoga voice, which is softer and slower.
Yeah.
So you do a softer because you ended up that way. But in the beginning, you were very much, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in. You know? And I've seen this for 20 years, so I do recognize it. But it's all Pilates. It's really interesting when yogis go into Pilates and when Pilates people go into yoga. They have very different voices and how they instruct and how they cue. So it's not anything unusual, but it is something that you might want to keep your eye on, and you know, especially for the meditation. And
Yeah,
Ren is really like she really struggled in the beginning to do a yoga voice. Now I think she has a hybrid. I don't know. She does she does her Pilates different now, and she does her yoga different now, and even how she's teaching it is different now. So it's
yeah.
really quite interesting. There's Mia.
Yeah, I struggle to keep quiet, so it's quite difficult for me.
When you're instructing, hello Mia.
Yeah, when I'm instructing.
Like when you're instructing Pilates.
Yeah, as people
Yeah,
stop moving the
yeah.
moment you stop speaking.
Yes. Yeah, they most of the Pilates people actually do speak the entire time.
Yeah,
There's very little breaks, you know, you're always doing something, or they're chatting. Like they have little side
yeah,
conversations in Pilates, which you never have in yoga, almost ever.
yeah.
Like nobody's talking to the instructor. And in
Mm.
Pilates, they're having little tea parties half the time. So it
Yeah, yeah.
really a different, am I right, Marion?
Uh, I'm not sure about that one, the teapot, but yes, we do speak a lot.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I mean like a group circle, like conversation. They still might be moving, but they can be gossiping or talking about something or having fun. There's a very different feel in Pilates than about what the group situation is. I
Yeah.
didn't mean tea party like you're not doing anything.
No, I know. No, I
There's
know. Yeah, that's true.
definitely some Nurse Ratchet in the Pilates side of things. Okay. Hello, Mia.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. No worries. We had to herd the kittens today. So there was 2 or 3 of you. We had to get in the room, so don't worry.
I'm really sorry. But
Well, don't
I'm
be.
here now. It's
There's enough
fine.
guilt in the world for everybody, so just we'll start with forgiveness. How about that? We'll end it right
Great.
there. Yay.
Thank you.
Yay, good. Okay. So there's a couple topics we're going to be covering today. How is this stuff living for you? I don't get to really see you that often, nor talk to the ones that I do see. So in regards to frequency, in regards to, you know, a negative bias, catching, you know, watching that there's a conversation in your head, maybe noticing that it's changing your frequency or your feelings, your mood. There's something automated there. So is anybody having any kind of noticings? Can you share any noticings about frequency, inner dialogue, lack, or on the other side, abundance? And probably noticing if there any of the automated stuff. So who's let's get a little bit of something from everybody. So start with Megan. Hello, Megan, dear. I'm going to pick on you yet again.
Hello.
So have you noticed anything about all that stuff?
I've noticed that I have become quite dependent, not in a bad way, in a good way, slowing things down.
Again? Well, hold on.
Can you hear me?
No, I didn't understand you. Say that again. I've been
Oh,
dependent on the bad way.
No,
in a
no,
good
I'm
way.
saying I've become dependent in a good way, not a bad way,
Oh,
on like slowing down and meditating in the evenings.
beautiful.
And I don't always focus on the, what's it, the dantian.
Yep.
I change it up sometimes, but
Oh,
I
look
find
at you go. Go, girl.
I'm just exploring,
Good.
experimenting.
Good. That's how you find your way. That's how you find
Yeah.
you're a unique snowflake. You need to experiment. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and it just helps me just put things into perspective, which is amazing.
Yes.
But also I still find it very easy to snap back into like, it's still quite difficult to separate like the negative bias from like my inner knowing and like my, I don't really know how to explain it, but
Intuition.
like, yeah, intuition, yeah.
Inner knowing and negative bias. Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you what the difference is.
Yeah.
Yeah, your negative bias is definitely negative.
Yeah.
Judgment, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with it, something bad's going to happen. And it's usually much more tangible. When it's intuition and you're protecting yourself, it doesn't feel quite so bad. It's just like, I have a funny feeling. I feel like if it's negative, it's kind of like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like I'm feeling something and I don't know why. So that's usually the best distinction. If it's like negative, that's your negative bias.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's been really helpful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's changing the frequencies you're able to walk around in, and you have some self-control in some areas that you didn't have any control at all. Is that true?
Yeah. And also when like there's a dilemma or something, or I'm confused about something, I just slow it down and just like, and that's been also really helpful, you know?
Beautiful. Geez,
Yeah.
music to my ears. I mean, just getting that one thing out of yoga teacher training, like that material's not out in the world for the most part. Not in
Yeah.
schools. You have to go somewhere specific to get it.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. And what we want you to do is to adopt a practice, and that's what you've done. So
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
Great, Megan. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have something to share along the lines of what they've noticed about the automaticness, you know, in whether it's good or bad, but what are your noticings and anything that you're able to apply, useful, utility? Tamishni sat all the way up and I thought for sure she had something to say.
Okay, I'll go next. Okay, Brian, I just wanted to say that previously when I used to meditate, I could feel slight breakthroughs, you know, on the inside.
Yes.
But now that I'm doing it regularly,
Yes.
I can feel the increase in energy.
Yes.
And it's more positive. And if I get stressed or don't feel too well, then I understand now what regular meditators mean when they say you can tune into your internal world, because
Yes.
know what they're talking about.
Beautiful. Are you still just doing 2 minutes a day, or is it more than that?
15 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's great. But it's like you start off with 2 minutes, and if it turns into 15, great. But you can always have time for 2 minutes. And it's just, people think they need to meditate forever and ever and ever. It's 15 minutes a day. And you're starting to notice differences in your energy that's starting to ground us and align us with who we truly are and something more positive than if we just listen to the negative bias and the anxiety that comes with it all day long. And it changes our energy really quite quickly. Beautiful. And it's a beautiful practice.
And also, I think that I'm able to handle stuff better.
Yes.
Now I'm meditating regularly, you know, like situations.
Yes.
I can do it better.
So my words I'd put to that is that having, it's easy to have a lower frequency. And when you start creating a higher frequency for yourself, you notice when it slides. So you notice when it goes down and you're like, well, I don't like that feeling. I don't want that. And then you know what to do about it. So that's what consciousness is just being aware of energy changes, for example. So beautiful. And that also the last distinction that you made was now you understand what people are talking about when you connect with your inner world. So
Yeah, 'cause you know, always like, you know, Deepak Chopra and all, they always talk about, you know, your internal world, even Oprah Winfrey. And I understand now what they mean by that and
yes,
what they're referring to.
good for you. Beautiful.
Okay.
Anybody else happy to share? Where is Anka?
I'm here. Yeah. Oh,
Everybody here? Oh no, we do have everybody. Okay. I thought I lost you, Anka. There you are.
okay. I'm
I'm
here.
not trying to get you to talk. I'm just, so anybody?
Oh, I'll go. I'm happy
Wow,
to go.
look at us. Here we are.
Seeing that I was so late, let me be an early starter. Yeah, no, I'm really good. I had quite a profound week, and as Bryan mentioned, I had my hour with him, so it was like all to gain and nothing to lose. And yeah, no, I definitely have moved out of my head a lot. You know, the chatters are a lot more down and kind of just dropped into my dantian, my gut, my womb wisdom, whatever, you know, where I can feel the change, the way I talk. Everything's slower, it's more truthful. So I'm kind of up and down still, but I'm aware of it and I'm catching myself. So when I'm up here, my voice goes higher and nothing makes sense and I babble, and then I catch myself doing it and I just drop back into me, you know, the real me. Yeah, so it's still, you know, patting the rescue dog every time the fears come up and the belief systems and stuff I've been carrying and coping mechanisms, you know, that all comes up, and it's been years and years and years of it. But it's to have that awareness and know when you're doing what you're doing, and then, you know, just going back to your truth and who you really are. And yeah, no, it's amazing.
Beautiful.
Still a lot of back and forth and up and down, actually, from here to, you know, but
Yes.
yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah.
And it will continue to do that. It'll be moving around. So it's degrees of cementing it in, degrees of taking more time with that you're connected to you. So you'll remember these things that you're saying, because these are the things after the course that people forget. And we get lazy and we get disconnected from the feeling of that it felt good. And if you make an effort to remember how you feel now and how you got there, you'll remember it when you need it. Try keep a practice, like even just 2 minutes of meditation every day, and it's not asking a lot.
Yeah, that also helps. You know, just those 2 minutes. It's a bit easier now as well than it was last week.
Well, surprise, surprise. Yeah. Lovely. Wow, this is payday at the mines for me. I mean, this is all the gold's coming in. So, yay. Very excited for all of you. This is my whole life is just having people be able to have a better experience of themselves and having some control of when you have understanding what's going on, then you have some moves to actually shift your experience. So this is exactly why I do this. So yay. So, and it doesn't matter if you have positive, like everybody's in a different spot. So if you have negative or positive experiences, feel free to share them. Everybody's on a journey. So if anybody else wants something to share, I won't put you on spot, but you can put yourself on spot if you want to.
I just want to add, so just having more tools in the toolbox, you know, to manage yourself, you know, it's tools. And you know, today I was getting a bit triggered, and then, you know, I just like put my hand on my dantian and I was like, okay, don't react, you know, and then it was like, actually, it doesn't matter, you know, not always having to react and act from up here all the time.
Yeah.
If you truly know, just, you know, there's more to yourself, if that makes, yeah, just your true self. And it's weird. It's like having another, you know, it's there. They actually no words. I think Megan was battled to describe it. You know, it's like, I mean, they're the conversations that happen and the dialogues, and but then sometimes you just drop into a realness of yourself, and having just those tools of knowing, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, let me pick out a tool. Yeah.
The words that I put to that, the best that I can do is there's an alignment with self, and there's a knowingness. There's a knowingness where I'm connected to me, so I feel more connected. And the reason why I pick knowingness, because doubts are less important, less powerful, less frequent when I'm in knowingness. So there's just this, and also there's a little bit of faith and trust that comes with that as well. So it's a beautiful connection, aligning with self.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anybody else have a tidbit or two? And
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so last week, Friday, I noticed that I'm actually getting better at not letting other people's emotions trigger me, as in, like, I'd rather stay happy. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it,
That's
but
a good word. We'll go with that.
I rather focus on my own feeling than taking on what they're projecting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about it.
Beautiful.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, and powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Anybody else? Last chances? Going? Gone. Okay. Woo! Okay. Yes, there we go. See, you don't always have to talk. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about a concept of sacred. So it's in the Masters of Lack audio, and I talk about the masters became aware of the self-awareness of themselves. So everybody's kind of talking about that they're changing their frequency. They're starting to notice that, you know, they're starting to say, oh, there's a negative bias. That Anka used the analogy, I'm not sure I've used it very often with you guys, but I did with her, is the negative bias is kind of like a rescue dog. And it's scanning the horizon for you for what you're afraid of, because it's got access to your beliefs. And that when you calm the rescue dog down, you go, okay, I got it, I see it, no one have to worry, calm down, and then it lies back down again. It was kind of the what she was pointing to. And so we're talking about raising our frequencies, and that the top of that is kind of sacred. So the top of the frequency is a frequency of sacred. And I talked about and in between Masters of Lack and Sacred, there's a lot of levels. And we're kind of talking about some of those levels now. And so if we're going to go to to understand the whole continuum, it's a good idea to explore both ends of it. So I think we know Lack pretty well. So we're going to have a look at the sacred side of things. So, and the Buddhists were talking about, and the Hindus and all the masters, is that once they started feeling, higher frequencies in, like, sacred, for example, they decided that they weren't going to leave there. And they started doing the practices that they needed to do and have great dedication for to feel sacred all the time. So that, like, you might have heard of, there's a Buddhist practice of chop wood and carry water, which I sounded like the most horrible thing that you could do to me, most of my life. That just, I never got it. But if you're going very slow and you're actually, watching the water fill and experiencing water and carrying it to where it's going and seeing the nourishment of it and the purpose of it, and seeing just the entire trip from when you put it in the bucket to your walk through the grass and being ultra aware. And the same thing when you chop the wood, is going slow and having the experience of physical labor, of stacking it up and carrying it, etc. All of that can be done at a higher frequency. So what we're going to do now, just to give you another experience on the other end of the continuum, is that so that you have an experience of what sacred looks like, because that's not an easy one to create on your own. So we're going to try do that now. So I'm going to have you close your eyes for a sec. And I want you to think about, so I'm going to bring up some imagery so we can find your frequency. So think of, on planet Earth, what is it that you find sacred? Me personally, I find the ocean is sacred, and the jungle can be sacred, and the woods, like the Canadian mountains and those green blue lakes and that kind of stuff. It's just so beautiful. It's ridiculous. Sometimes the desert, sometimes children, and like little kids, and they're just being ridiculously adorable, beyond adorable, actually. I don't know, blissful. Animals. I love animals, like little furry animals, little bunnies. You know, baby bunnies, like when they first just come out of, we used to have them at the studio, and they would just come, for the first time, they'd come out of underneath our hutch, and they're just so ridiculously adorable beyond that. So I want you each to find what is sacred for you, because we want to get to the frequency. What's sacred for you on this planet? And breathe in that frequency. You want to breathe it in and breathe it out. You just want to feel it's already there. You've already felt it. You're just focusing on it and creating it in this moment. We'll do 5 breaths of that. Now keep your eyes closed and just raise your hand that you've actually been able to feel your frequency of something sacred. Kamishni? Is that a hand? Did you find it? Okay, good. Close your eyes, get back to the frequency. So keep feeling that frequency of sacred. Two more breaths, and I want you to really breathe in the sacred, and I want you to really radiate it out your heart. And again. So now that you have the frequency of sacred, we want to apply that frequency to a couple other things. So I want you to take in a sacred breath. The next 5 breaths, have them deeper and deeper, experience them as sacred, slow and deep and lovely. Refine your experience. The sacred is a refined experience. You're looking deeper into it. So if you can feel molecules and particles in your oxygen that you're bringing in, If that refines it for you, try that. And now we're going to move your attention to a different experience of sacred. So hold on to your frequency of sacred. And with the Buddhists would talk about the experience of the moment. They would talk about the now, now, now. And you can even do it faster than that. The nows, are happening so quickly. And I want you to feel the sacred now. Whatever speed feels perfect for you to be tasting the moment, whether it's now, 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 or it's now, now, you decide. The sacred now. Add the sacred breath to the sacred now, which means you're focusing on nano experiences of your breath. Now, now, now. Sacred breath, sacred now. Two more breaths. Sacred breath, sacred now. Really drop deeply into it, even deeper. A quantum leap of a drop into that experience. You can feel every particle in the now, all around you, in the room where you are, maybe all around the world, maybe all around the universe. But feel every particle around you in that sacred now and sacred breath. And lastly, we're going to keep your experience of the sacred now. Of the sacred, the experience of the sacred frequency. And I want you to apply that sacred frequency to the sacred you that is taking a sacred breath in the sacred now. You're feeling every molecule and cell that you are. You're feeling every particle of your breath in every nanosecond of now. Next 5 breaths. Sacred you, sacred now, taking a sacred breath. Sacred you, in this sacred now, taking a sacred breath. Sacred you, in this sacred now, taking a sacred breath. And now fall deeply into the lusciousness of that experience. The sacred you, the sacred now, and the sacred breath. The next few breaths, just be on your own and do what you're going to do. And let go of all the imagery and just be aware of the experience that you're having right now. So the masters learned, you can keep your eyes closed. The masters learned that once they discovered that every moment and every action could be sacred because you are always with the sacred you if you wanted to be. So they decided to do everything from there. Just another thought about that. That is a Trinity meditation. As soon as you're focusing on three different things, it's impossible to have an inner dialogue. When you're focusing on you, your breath, and the moment, which you can do all three of those things at one time, there's no room left to actually have thoughts. Sacred you, sacred breath, and the sacred now. So code this in, make an emotional memory of what this felt like. Remember how you got here. Creating a sacred experience because you already have one. You know what that frequency is. Applying it to whatever you want. I choose the me, the moment, and the breath. But I've done lots of them. And it's an exquisite experience. And that is the other end of the continuum. And all the things in between. So I'm going to leave you there for a couple more moments. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. But once you open your eyes, remember the sacred, three things of sacred. Once your eyes are open, do a few breaths doing that as well. Sacred you, sacred breath, sacred now. Remember that feeling when your eyes are open. Anybody have anything they would like to share? Or do words elude us at the moment?
I almost fell asleep, Bryan.
Yeah, I saw. I thought you were just really into it.
I was, but it was so relaxing.
Okay, good. You're frozen, Ricky. I didn't hear that. Okay. Everybody
Can
good?
you hear me?
I can now. Say again?
Yeah.
Yep, good. Anybody else?
No,
with
we're
any-
good.
Beautiful. Anything else to share? Everybody have a good experience? Okay. It's hard for words after that, so I'll go slowly for this next part. So now we're going to change it up completely. So just make it one more time, make an emotional, energetic memory of what you just did, so that when you do that, you can go straight back to it. If you have a memory of it, you can go straight back to it. So take a snapshot, an energetic, emotional snapshot of what that felt like, and then you can return anytime you want to. So now we're going to talk a little bit about perceptions. This is about a 360 in hyperspace, different than what we just did. So I keep saying to people that there's 7.5 billion perceptions of reality. And and a lot of people think that I'm kidding about that. I'm actually not. Is that nobody has exactly the same experience, not even close. And on the surface of things, even the people you agree with, if we ask enough questions, we will find where you diverge, where one person thinks more like this and the other person thinks like that. So you are a unique snowflake. But the thing about perceptions is that, and this is something that, I was curious about from before I was even a teenager. And the thing that I found interesting was that I could say something to somebody, and that they would say, "Oh, how can you say that to me?" And I'd look at them kind of sideways and go, "Say what to you?" Because I knew I didn't mean anything. I had no intention of saying anything off color or there was no intent to actually say anything that should upset them or they should be worried about. And this was quite an anomaly to me. So so then I started investigating that really quite early. And, I'd say something to somebody, casual conversation. It happened really often when there was somebody that I knew quite well. And then I'd be introduced to a friend of theirs. And so I'd treat them like I could talk to them the same way I talk to my own friend. And that's turned out to be a mistake. So I would say something to them and they go, "Oh, how can you say that to me?" And I would say, "Well, say what to you?" And then when people are younger, they will say exactly often what they thought you were saying. And they will go, "Well, when you said, that, you meant that I'm not very smart, or I'm not good enough, or should be more like this, or you're judging me in some kind of way." And I would go, "No, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant by my words. That's not what I said." And it was really interesting to me that how convinced people were. You couldn't talk them out of it. The more you tried to talk them out of it, the more they thought you were just trying to be a weasel. And I was always surprised by that. I was like, well, I know what I was feeling and what my intentions were. So what is this disconnect? What's actually going on here? So anybody else have that experience ever in their life? Megan? Ever? I didn't see you
Yeah,
nod.
I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and has it happened, like Megan's really quite sweet, kind of like Renee. So, they're really careful with what they say to people, I think. And Anka as well. Where did Anka go? Well, she's in the middle now. I think Anka's very sweet. I think Mia's very sweet. I think that there's people that really go out of their way to make sure that people aren't upset by their words. So people like me, where I just said whatever was on my mind, and I really wasn't that interested in prefacing. My attention wasn't on what happens if they get upset by my words and I need to make them palatable for everybody. I was more focused on, what am I feeling? What am I really feeling? What is my truth? What is my experience? I wanted to share that. And it got me into a lot of trouble, I have to say. So, is that, would you say that that's how, what do you think is happening? Anybody brave enough to go, this is what I think is happening when that occurs?
God, I'm like the eager beaver today. I think if you say something like, oh,
let's go to you. When
okay.
you were talking to somebody once upon a time, and you
Mm.
said something, and you know you meant nothing by it, absolutely, and it didn't even dawn on you that somebody could take your words and be upset by it. Think of one of those times, and then think about, not the content, what actually, you said X, what happened on their side?
Well, I can't think of a specific example, but what I think happens is you've obviously triggered something in them.
Yeah.
You didn't mean anything, to trigger them.
Yes.
And it's something they believe so strongly that if you try and make it right, the
back
more.
up. No, we'll back up before that. So before, just this little bit right here. So when you said something, there's something that came out your mouth, and it had meaning on it, and there was intention, and then it crossed the room and it went in their ear. What happened then?
It's on a different frequency when they are maybe on a different frequency when they receive a message from you.
Likely that's true. What else happened specifically to the Maya?
Isn't it that their negative bias then, like, I don't know, the stray dog, but their stray dog gets activated, and
Rescue
it's like,
dog,
oh my
rescue
word,
dog.
that person said this, and then
Rescue
you're like,
dog.
no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, so they have what happened? There was, okay, so when I speak, there's meaning to my words and intention. And when it goes into their ear, what's the first thing that happens to it? Are they hearing what you mean?
No, there's an interpretation.
Right.
Yeah.
So they add their own meaning. So this is most conflicts, most arguments, people are talking past each other so often. It's so regular for us. Social distance, go. It happens so often. We compensate. As soon as somebody reacts to something we say negatively, we just kind of back up a bunch of steps and pretend like it didn't happen, and either try and get away from them or change the topic. You've ever had that experience? Right. So that's how we cover up the fact that there was an intent in words that came out of my mouth, and there was different meaning that got added to those words when they went in somebody else's ear. Pretty fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to look at this a little. Now, this is so important to transformation, because people are talking past each other. Almost every conflict you've ever had is that there was something said and meant that were different. Ren and I've known Ren for 3 decades or something. I don't know. We try not to figure it out exactly. It makes us feel weird. But last week, she said something to me that annoyed the hell out of me, because I was planning a lot of stuff, and I was running things past her and making plans. And then when we were going into the meeting, she said, before we went in, she said, well, let's say, something completely different that just negated everything that I had talked about earlier, and that it was like I didn't say it at all. And that kind of upset me a little bit, and my tone raised, etc. And we found out after the fact by asking, okay, what did you mean by that? So it's called testing your thinking. And so when she said, oh, when I said, let's say, I was talking about, let's say this to them. And I thought she was saying, let's say this is what we're going to do. And there were two completely different things. And one of them negated everything I talked to her about. And the other one was her just, preparing for the meeting. And they were really, I added meaning to her words when she said, let's say, well, I didn't know that she was, I thought she was just starting off in hyperspace, as opposed to actually dealing with where we left off, which happens a lot for us, actually. And the point of it is, it's been 3 decades that we've known each other. It's a very small thing, and it had both of us very triggered in a very short amount of time. And then we were able to clean it up very quickly as well. Soon as you have the understanding that the meanings that come out of your mouth and and if they change the meaning to your words, they can also change the intention that you meant behind them. People see their negative bias does see a lot of negativity instantly. So we've already I'm not going to do that part yet. Does everybody get that? Okay. Now we're going to watch a video. And
Are you about to message me, Bri?
oh my gosh. Don't do that.
Look, that's you phoning me.
Yeah. No, I just phoned you now. Yeah.
Yes. See, I'm
Did you-
everywhere.
Wow. Are you checking up on me or something? What was that? Wow. How long have you been listening?
Oh, long enough.
Good. Did you learn anything?
No, it's cool. I've been here for probably about 5 minutes. So I just heard about
Really?
our conversation of our misunderstanding and clearing up. So that was cool.
Yeah. So did that happen?
Yes, absolutely.
Were we both really plugged in? Angry? Annoyed?
Yeah. I think we were both like quite annoyed. And after like what, 3 decades, you'd think we'd know better with each other.
Exactly. And I wanted to kill you. I'm sure you wanted to do the same. But did we come to a realization that it was really the meaning that we put to the words?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So now when we're talking about perceptions, is that, don't run it yet, Ren, is
Okay.
that people, because you have different rescue dogs and a different experience of life, you're collecting different information. So if your rescue dog is your survival mechanism, is looking at the scenery around you, scanning the horizon, and it's very specific material of what you're trying to protect yourself from, and somebody else is collecting different information that they find interesting and different information that they're collecting to protect themselves. So we're all looking at different things. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. Ren,
Yeah.
don't forget about 24.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So let me just go into screen share.
Wow, that was freaky.
Okay. Can everybody see that?
Okay, we're going to do an awareness test. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
I can't hear anybody.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, good.
Oh.
And okay, so let's play it, and 24.
Okay.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Stop. Thank you. Okay, can we go back to faces, please? Okay, so how many passes did the team in white make? Anybody?
I think I had 12.
I also think I had 12.
I also think I had 12.
Anybody else with a different answer?
I have 11.
I had 11 as well.
Who said 11? Marianne and who?
Mariki.
Marika.
There we are. Okay, so Ren, can we play it from the beginning again?
Yeah.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The an-
Okay. Back to faces, please. Any new numbers?
13.
13.
Anybody else?
I'm still on 12.
Yeah, I'm still on 7. Anybody else?
And then I wasn't sure, he kind of passes the ball to himself a bit in the beginning, so I didn't
Yeah,
know.
that
do
one
I
doesn't
count
count.
those?
No, he doesn't. He just
Okay.
plays with it, but then he throws it on. Yes. Okay,
Okay.
we're going to do it one last time.
I just
This
feel
is
like
an awareness test, right? We're all collecting information. Right now, the information we're collecting is how many times the white team passes the ball. Okay. One last time, Ren, and then stop it at 24.
Okay.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Okay. Back to faces, please, Ren. And you can leave it leave it on 24. So, any new numbers?
I'm on 13.
I'm on 13 also.
Megan?
I'm also on 13, but I've seen this video before.
Oh, that's not fair.
I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. So what we're talking about is because people are collecting different information in life, we wonder how they can have different perceptions of reality. And it's based on what they're collecting. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means they saw it. They might have added meaning to it. So sometimes when you're adding meaning to people's words and adding meaning to their intentions, then we can have very different realities. Yes? Okay. So now we're going to see how that works in a very simplistic way, but it still should be impactful. Megan, you cheater. If you'll play it all the way through now, Ren.
Yeah.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Okay. It's easy to miss something you're not looking for. Okay, Ren.
Cool.
So did you want to stay with us, Ren, some more? And we can talk about our relationship or...
No, that's fine. You just go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. Thanks for helping. And scaring the crap out of me as you're watching. Unbelievable. Thanks.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, thanks, Ren.
Pleasure. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So you can see how that... Were you surprised there was a dancing bear?
Yeah.
Megan wasn't. So it just shows, we watched that 4 times. Did anybody see the dancing bear the 4th time? Because now you'd already counted it. It was just kind of going, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. So people are collecting different pieces of information. So that's what it actually shows you. There's a dancing bear in that clip. And yes, they did design it very well, that you've focused your mind, just like our negative bias is very much looking for certain things, and it eliminates everything else in certain situations. In this situation, you said, okay, I want to watch when the white team passes the ball. So you actually negated everything that was dark, and the bear was actually dark, so that it wasn't important to you. We didn't see it. And there is so much stuff going on. So when people are afraid, they are like on point. They are collecting every nano bit of information when craziness is happening. They're not seeing anything else. So you can see any kind of dramatic situation that people are having, and they're not going to see what you see. They're going to see what they want to see. You can take any kind of reality show, you know, a drama outside of a bar or a lounge when you were young, and you can see people like if there's like 5 people having a kerfuffle and it turns ugly, you know, all 5, if we were all standing there, we would have a different view of who started it, whose fault it was, who behaved worse, who behaved badly, who egged it on. We'd all have a slightly different idea of what actually occurred there. And when we start interacting with each other, like we talk to each other like there's one reality. There's not. We talk to each other, there's only one reality, and I just happen to have the best understanding of reality, and everybody else is slightly confused. Is how most people treat each other. And that's how our conversations go. So when you're speaking to people, and when you can start speaking from a transformational point of view, realize that if they are saying and seeing things that you didn't see, it was real for them. And then you can ask them information about that. Okay, so what makes you think that that's true? What happened? What did they say? Oh, they said this. And it'll be amazing when if you're in a conflict, especially with a loved one / husband, that when you start asking them what they meant by their words, what they heard in your words, if you can calm down to a place of neutrality and start looking to see the meanings that came out your mouth and your intentions that went with them and what went in their ear, you'll be surprised at how often those things are not the same. And then you can go, oh, well, no wonder you reacted like that. You thought no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I was saying. Then you have a different problem that a lot of people don't believe you. That's a different problem. If it's your mate, hopefully they do. But then you can start looking, because then there's patterns. Different people keep making the same perceptual interpretations, and they might have 5 or 10 of them that are different than yours. But once you start learning them, especially the ones that cause you both pain, then you can start anticipating them and go, oh, when I said this, did you think that I was attacking you? Yes, I did. Oh, okay, that's not what I meant at all. And then we can start prefacing how we speak to people if we want them to actually hear what we mean. Does that seem reasonable? Is that landing? Everybody got that? Okay. So now this is a real easy one to forget, because we interact with the world like there's one reality. It's not true. And you'll save yourself a lot of pain. Did somebody say something? Nope. I'm going to read you a little something. This is out of the Course in Miracles. It's in a different manual than this course. Jeez. And it's specifically about this phenomenon of that different people see different things in the moment. Now it's very precise. It's very, very precise, but it's a little complicated. Once I've said it a few times, it should sink. Maybe the first time, who knows? Get my goggles on. Okay, the world we see, the world that we see reflects our internal frame of reference. So if somebody is taking your words and adding different meanings to them to understand you, then if the only way that's happening, if they're not taking what you're saying, then what the world they see is reflecting their internal frame of reference. Does that make sense? The dominant ideas, wishes, and emotions in our minds. That is the internal frame of reference. So projection makes perception. Everybody know what that psychology word means of projection? No? Okay, projection is that projection literally means, think of that there's a projector on somebody's head. So they're projecting onto the world, like, you know, a projector would project images on the wall that has particular meaning. So projection means is that people are watching the world and they're projecting like a projector their internal images on what they're seeing around them. Okay. Kamishni, are we good? Okay. So the world we see reflects our internal frame of reference. The dominant ideas, wishes, and emotions in our minds. Projection makes perception. So what they project out into the world is what they see. That's their reality. And they're going to interact with it like it's real. We look inside first, the kind of world we want to see, and then project that world on the outside. So when I speak to somebody, I have meaning on my words, which is in this moment right now. It goes in their ear almost now, and it's changed immediately. They already know what they believe about the world. They already know about certain tones. They already think in certain situations, usually this is what I don't want to have happen. And sometimes they see people doing exactly what they don't want to have happen. Making sense? Okay. So we look inside first, decide the kind of world we want to see, and then project that world on the outside. So we add meaning to what it is that we see right now. I've already have to have something in my head because I add that meaning immediately. So we make it the truth as we see it. So the meaning that I add is the truth as I see it. So I'm creating my own reality. We make it true by our interpretations of what it is we're seeing. What perception sees and hears, the meaning we add to people's words and actions, appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. You with me? They can only see what they're looking for in certain situations, certain tones, certain places where they feel vulnerable, certain truths that they believe about people. And I'm just waiting for you to do that thing. People who are the people in your life that have very dramatic lives, they're constantly being a victim. Everybody has one of those in their life. Everybody's met one. So the people that are really victims, they are constantly putting out into the world that something that's happening and it's happening bad to them. That's the extreme case of it on the continuum, but it makes it very clear because it makes it very difficult to spend any time around them because it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to take very long before they're upset with you that they're a victim of what you did to them. That has nothing to do with you. You with me?
Bryan, I'm really sorry. I have a family meeting apparently in like 5 minutes. I'm really sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah, watch the recording. Just watch the recording. Are you good? Are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'm sure it's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I know the words are difficult, but it's very exacting about what's happening. And once you get this, you can never lose it. I'll if you want, I'll take a picture of it so you have the words and then you can have it with you. Okay. So we make it true by our interpretation of what it is that we're seeing. We're adding meaning to everything that we see. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceiver. They already know what world they live in. They already know what people are capable of. Oftentimes it's about the things that they don't want people to be doing to them. And that's exactly what they apply to the moment. So then it starts creating a pattern. If they see it in one place, they see it in a lot of places. And until one can become aware of their own patterns of what they're adding to the moment, what's causing you pain, and if it keeps happening over and over and over again, that's a really good place to go see if you're adding meaning. What is it that you believe and what keeps happening? And then in the moment, you can start questioning that stuff. This leads to a world of illusions, a world which needs constant defense precisely because it's not real. So I'm going to take a picture of that and I will send it to you. Can anybody paraphrase that for me? Somebody just disappeared. Oh, Mariki. Well, since Megan watched the video already, I'm sure, yeah, I'm picking on you again. Sorry. Can you? So give your best shot at...
I need to see it and to break it down more.
Okay, you don't have to, don't forget about the words that I just said to you. Now just feel it.
Okay, well, if I think about it.
Now think about the dancing bear. And thinking about...
Basically, like you notice what you see and you notice what you have, like what you want to see or what you like. I don't really know how to word it, but that's kind of what I got from it.
Full stop. You know,
Yeah.
you're perfect. The only difference is sometimes people see negativity that isn't there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And some people see positivity that isn't there. So they see the world that they want to see. So sometimes you don't see somebody who is taking advantage of you or takes advantage of you. And a friend will come up to you and say, I don't trust that person. Be careful. And you go, oh, no, they're fine. And we see what we want to see. They're seeing something different. And that if they do take advantage of us, your friend is like, see, I told you so. So it's really about, so sometimes we're seeing negativity. We're adding meaning into the moment that is negativity that isn't there, and we're causing pain for ourselves and conflict and blaming people for things that they haven't done and being separate and being afraid and allowing us to lower our frequency because we live in a horrible place. And sometimes we're actually adding positivity that isn't there, and that we end up seeing things like, if it never hurts you, if nobody ever takes advantage of you, you might not ever know you're adding it. You might just go, oh, okay, well, this works, and here's the reason why it works. And you might not ever know otherwise if it never becomes a problem. So the key to all of it is testing your thinking. The key to all of it is that if you're in a conflict or if you're feeling pain, especially if there's a pattern to it, then you start exploring it. What do I believe? What do I keep seeing in the moment because I'm adding the meaning there? Okay, everybody good? Kamishni, that face you're making, I'm not sure you're happy. Is she on a loop? Kamishni.
Sorry, the internet connection is unstable. Yeah, so when you're talking, sometimes you go silent, and I can't hear what you're saying.
Zip, boop, dup, zoop, droop.
Now
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay, just checking. Okay, so okay. So, do you have the concept, Kamishni? I'm just looking at your face. I got a little bit concerned that. Are you good? Oh, she's frozen. She actually is frozen. Huh. Wow. Her connection is bad. Oh, there we go. Hello. Okay. You might have to watch the recording, I think. Okay. So everybody good with this? So people see what they want to see. So it takes all the mystery out of when your friends are being crazy, or when somebody attacks you, or when a loved one, like especially when it's a love relationship, and that you're the honeymoon part of a relationship is when you're at your highest frequencies. The soul, the subtle body, what you truly are, feels the chemistry with the person that you're with. And then when you start seeing stuff that, starts hurting us a little bit, we create separation. we have starting judgments about that they need to be different, or it can be any one of those things. But there's a book called Keeping the Love You Find, and being able to spot these places where we get upset with one another, and where we actually have separation, and if it's conflicts, especially if it's the same conflicts happening over and over, it's probably a good idea to check to see if you're both talking about the same thing. What actually do you see me doing? Like, this is one thing people do, is that you'll say, well, this is what I was doing, or this is what was going on. And they go, well, no, that's not how I felt it. And that they go, well, that's not what I meant. And people are, well, maybe we're not compatible, because I don't mean those things. And that's what you keep hearing. And that and the fight, when people do that, it's because they think there's one reality. There's two realities in that room, and there's 7.5 billion on the planet. So when you start, and it's okay, people can have their reality. You can go, oh, well, I didn't mean that. You have to have the social agreements in your relationships that there can be more than one reality. And when you're causing pain, and you're going, oh, well, you were feeling that because I did this. And you start making it work for two people, because you're learning what they're getting triggered by, and then figuring out how to either give the understanding by giving the right information of what you actually mean, because it's a misinterpretation, or that you're actually not triggering each other, that those words mean you're attacking me, or that you're disrespecting me, or et cetera, et cetera. And then you can make it work for two people based on that you're still having two different realities. I'm still looking at Kamishni going, she can't be happy with this. Are you good? Do you have a question? You have a bone to pick with me? Go, try now.
I can hear you now, but the sound is cutting off, and then I can just hear your mouth moving, but I can't hear.
Okay, so that look on your face isn't that you're having troubles with the concept, is you can't hear anything I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, see, there's a misinterpretation right there. It's perfect. Okay. Perfect example. You couldn't have done a better job. Okay, great. You're gonna have to listen to the recordings, I think. Okay. Anybody, so if you're gonna operationalize, this is an important one. A lot of pain and separation is caused here in our most important relationships, family, friends, and loved ones. So does anybody have a clarification question? Something about how to operationalize, get utility out of this? You might not be using this week, but this is, and there's more to go with this. There's a lot more that we'll be doing on Saturday around this. Anka.
No, I just see like pennies dropping. Also with myself.
Yes.
How well, I keep on thinking like the same thing when something happens, and I'm actually realizing it's, yeah. So I've just had like a few aha moments there.
Yeah.
But I've also we got issues with neighbors and a dog in our hood.
Yes.
And the way these people believe their own lies, and that makes sense to me now, because that's their reality.
It is.
Think, yeah,
some people know they're lying, and it's a strategy, and some people actually that's what they believe.
Yeah.
And you can usually check. You can ask a few questions, like maybe 5 or 10 questions, and be able to confirm, no, that's actually what they believe.
Yeah, no, that is what they believe, but it's like, wow, it's so not true, but it's yeah,
it's their reality.
Yeah, wow.
Sometimes the best we can do in life is boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're seeing a couple pennies are dropping with you.
I've just learned a few things about myself again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that gets a little bit deeper on Saturday. It gets more the tools, the actual tools of how to use this and why it's happening. Well, more of there's 3 places this happens the most, where we create separation with ourselves and with other people. Kamishni.
I just want to share my experience, okay, about what you're talking about. 2 people can see the same thing but experience it totally different.
Yes.
Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I put my daughter in a Montessori school, a play school.
Yep.
Yeah, so she turned 4, so it was grade triple R, right? And then I used to drop off in the mornings, and my hubby used to pick up in the afternoons. So when I used to drop off in the mornings, the kids used to come and take a hand, and I witnessed that the kids coming and taking a hand and going to the classroom and stuff like that. But most of the time, most of the kids weren't there, or the teachers were in the room, like in the office, and they were behind the closed door. So I had to knock on the door and take her in and then leave her there with them. Or they would be at the grounds and the kids were playing. And then she was a bit lost because it's a new school. She was used to her friends at daycare.
Yeah.
Then in the afternoons, when my hubby used to pick her up from aftercare at the same school, he would say, no, she's standing on her own, like picking flowers and, just like wandering into space.
Yeah.
And she didn't really have any friends. So his experience of the school and my experience was totally different.
Yes.
Then, and then initially I thought, okay, maybe she just wanted to go to that school because she knew that I liked Montessori teaching. But he from old school, he likes, like you sit in a normal classroom from 8 to 9, you do maths, 9 to 10, you do Afrikaans and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Since the lockdown started, I stopped sending her to school. So I had to bring her down to Durban. So she's with family. So we came to Durban this week. We are here in Durban because we came to see her after 5 months.
Wow.
Then she said, but mom, the kids weren't playing with me. And when I used to tell my teachers, they never used to listen to what I'm saying. So I think she just wanted to go to the school because she was trying to please me. So I said, next time that happens, you can tell mom and dad anything.
Yeah. Beautiful. The slight difference is that the thing that I'll point to is that it's easier that if your husband was with you when you dropped her off, and you were with him when you picked them up, and that if you were in the same situations, being able to have different experiences as well. It's really easy when you're not together, but you can still have different experiences. But it's really fascinating when you're in the same room at the same time, listening to the same things, and they have very different ideas of what just happened. So also keep an eye on that. Those are the real tricky ones. Good example though. Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. So we're good with that. People are adding meaning. Yes. Now I want to remind you of something. We started off the conversation. I told you it was a 360. Remember, we had sacred moment, sacred you, and sacred now. Very different feelings. So one is about creating the energy that when you're not feeling good. This is the Dharma. This is increasing the space, light, and what's the other one? Anybody?
Vibration.
Energy. Close. So when the Dharma side is that we're creating those 3 things, anytime you're feeling shadow, anytime you're not feeling good about yourself, the first one is about, the sacred is really a beautiful way to go. And the Trinity, doing Trinity meditations, because you can have if you do 3 things that you're feeling, any 3, you don't have enough room for thoughts. There's no negative bias if you can stay on those 3 things. So the 2 concepts that happened today was sacred. Remember that feeling with your eyes open. The sacred you, the sacred now, and the sacred breath. And you want to remember that stuff when your perceptions, when you're adding meaning, and when other people are adding meaning, It's a good time to remember the sacred when this is the stuff that happens. It keeps you calm. You can ask questions from a place of neutrality. You become a scientist. You're more interested in the nature of something than you are in being upset about something. That you go, my God, it's possible that I have a misinterpretation. It's possible I have a misperception. So now I'm going to be a scientist. Instead of investing in that misperception, possibly, now I'm going to invest just in understanding. What is the nature of this moment? What is the nature of what's unfolding between myself and whoever's around me? So I'm going to quote something out of, now I'm going back to perceptions. So this is out of the book Harvey Hexville, and it's called Keeping the Love You Find. And if you don't understand somebody's inner world, if you don't understand what they're experiencing, if you don't understand their inner world in any given moment, and in these cases where something's not working or it's a conflict, if you don't understand somebody else's inner world and you only understand your own, at the end of the day, you're only interacting with yourself. So we probably want to, I say to people that I'm more interested in what you mean by your words than what I make your words mean, because I want to interact with you. I want to know what you're saying. My true response in this moment is when I understand what you're actually saying, my true response in this moment is what I would say and feel to that. And if I have a misinterpretation to what that is, then I'm not interacting with you, and we are living, speaking, and acting past each other. And that is probably the number one problem in relationships. Why people start off being in love with each other and things slowly start disintegrating. This is one of the top reasons of why that occurs. So knowing that, armed with that, there's some utility that you actually have to do something about that. Any other thoughts about that? Any perceptions, any situations that have happened to you historically that will help cement this for you or for other people ultimately? Anything you can share? Where you were misinterpreted or you misinterpreted somebody? Oh, I have a good one. I'll go first. I'll go. I was at, my nephew was about 3, maybe 4. We were at a Christmas thing, and I was telling him to do something. He had this little mullet. So you know what a mullet is, right? Shaved sides of the hairdo, hair on top and hair down the back. Ridiculous. Why you'd ever do that to anybody, I do not know. But anyway, he had a mullet on, a little bow tie, and a little vest. And I told him to do something or not to do something. And he reached up and that I thought, and recently I'd pinched somebody under the arm, or somebody had pinched me under the arm. And he reached up under my arm, and I was sure he was going to pinch me. And I got annoyed instantly because I was telling him what to do, and he was being defiant and trying to pinch me back in a place where it actually kind of hurts. And so I pinched him first. And he didn't cry, and he wasn't upset about it, and he doesn't remember anything about it, which is brilliant. I carry this guilt all by myself. I found out when I asked him what he was doing, he said that he was just trying to tickle me. And so that's a really good example of being able to notice that you think somebody's doing something and it's innocent. And in this case, I was I had misinterpreted, and there was a negative consequence to me, and could have been for him, frankly. And thank God that didn't happen. So there's an example of misinterpretations and what they create. I know I'm a bad uncle. So do you guys have any examples of that or similar things?
Brian, I have a lot of examples, but we'll be here for a while if I start talking. So,
Just one. Just one.
it's daily. People at work thinking you're giving them orders instead of just working as a team, or someone just doing what they are paid to do and not wanting to do their job and putting it back on you, or manipulating you in doing their job for them.
Yes.
So
So a lot of that stuff is just manipulation, and that's a different ballgame. Sometimes we'll think people are being manipulative, but it's actually just what I'm adding to it. Like sometimes at work, it definitely sets itself up like that. There was a work situation I was in. I was consulting for a couple decades, and somebody was given the leadership on a steering committee. And it wasn't that important of a steering committee, but it was this person's first kind of crack at it. And somebody else that could have been the leader of that team showed up like 5 minutes late to their first meeting. And that person was convinced that they did it to undermine them, to show a lack of support, and that later up it came up that wasn't what was true at all, because they had more issues as time went on, and where I had to get involved. And we used it as an example, and they're like, no, God, no. They spoke about what their intentions were. And that the real interesting thing is that when you start talking to people about these things, and if you want to believe, I don't just believe the first thing that comes out of their mouth. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't believe that. I ask a few questions about, if you start asking them about the story and what happened next, and why they did this or why they did that, their entire story will hold water right from the word go. People who are lying, within 3 questions, something doesn't smell right. Something doesn't add up right. So that's when cops are asking people stories all the time about, what they're talking about to confirm their story. It's very easy to trip people up. It's the same thing in being able to test people's intention, is so that you actually know what they're doing, especially in a work situation. And in a spouse-lover relationship, you probably want to know that as well. Because if you're going to be with somebody that's going to lie to you to get their way to win, is probably not going to be an overly fulfilling relationship. But okay, thanks, Mariki. Okay, so we've got
Brian, sorry. Just a quick question. So in order to come behind the truth of what you have experienced and what that person actually meant, you obviously need to confront them.
Yeah, you probably don't want a confrontation.
No, but exactly. So
because here's why.
How will you know what the truth is?
Right. You need to create, this is a different way of being. So there's different social agreements that go with it. So I used to teach people exactly this in business. It's called dialogue. And there's, for a while, action learning was really important, and dialogue was really important in organizations, or they thought it was, till they found out what it actually took to do it. So it's actually having the social agreements. So like most of the time in a business situation, when you start asking somebody questions, usually it puts them on their back foot. And the interpretation that they'll put to it is that you're trying to do something. You're trying to mess with me, manipulate me, make me look bad in some kind of way. The first thing that comes to mind is that the first thing that doesn't come to mind is, oh, she's just testing her thinking. So you need to set up the social agreements. So I've done that in different groups of people to be able to set up those social agreements. It's easy to set up with your lover or your mate and your family. It's a little bit harder at work, but there are programs that's what it is that De Bono talks about it, Chris Argyris, David Bohm, Sengi, all of them. So if you can find somebody that does organizational development in your organization, they will know about this material and they can help you set up the social agreements so you can start getting to the truth of things. And it can be dangerous because the manipulators don't want to have that conversation. They want to keep getting away with what they have been. Okay, we keep losing commission.
Brian.
You're welcome. Okay. Any more thoughts, feelings, Kamishni?
Hi. Okay, I just want to say something about misinterpreting or misunderstanding what somebody is trying to say.
Yep.
Okay, my daughter, right? When she was 3, and even like up until the beginning of the year, sometimes when she used to say stuff, we didn't understand what she was trying to say. But now she speaks clearly. So even just before the lockdown, I mean, when it was the lockdown time and she was in Durban, she was trying to explain to my sister something about this Princess Belle. So they didn't understand who she was talking about. And they were saying, what princess? Who? And they didn't understand. And she was getting frustrated. So she went to the playroom and she brought a bell and she was ringing the bell. And she said, Princess Belle.
Okay.
Then they said,
Well, that was a perfect time to freeze. There you go. You froze. So till now, you were completely frozen. So I'm not sure. So was she the princess and that was her bell, or?
No. She was trying to explain to them that she was talking about Princess Belle. Because they didn't understand what she was saying.
Oh, they didn't know it was Belle. See, I don't understand either. So this is good.
Okay, Princess Belle is the princess from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, okay. I knew that.
Yeah. So they didn't understand who she was talking about because she wasn't pronouncing the word properly.
I see. I get it. Oh, and
Yeah,
she went.
so she went and she brought a bell and she started
Oh,
ringing.
to prove what a bell, Princess Belle is. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, she brought the bell to say Princess Belle as in Belle, you know.
How many times have you watched that video?
Twice, I think.
Only twice. Wow, you're fortunate.
No, Moana, we watched that like over 10 or 15 times.
Yeah, Frozen. If I saw Frozen, parts of Frozen, probably close to 300 times, and that wasn't even my child.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're getting close to closing. Now, who have we lost now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are we missing somebody?
Mia left early,
Just Mia.
and Marcia will watch the recording.
Yes, but it's just Mia that's left. Okay. Okay. Who would like to do a meditation on the way out? And there's going to be an added bonus depending on how long this takes. Okay. Oh, geez. Hey, there we go. Anka. So, Anka, will you also do an for us at the end of that?
Yeah, sure. I did one at my 15-minute thing.
Good. Excellent. So, now you can take a couple more minutes because we've got a few. So, just a few minutes to do.
Okay. All right. Everyone just take a few deep breaths just to settle, calm our minds. And then we can all bring our hands to our heart space and feel our thumbs in our sternums. And then just think of a beautiful memory, something that brought you joy and good feelings. And you can just expand it from your thumbs into your heart space. And just breathe in that beautiful memory or feeling throughout your body. Just inhale a little bit longer and spread that feeling throughout your body. You can also inhale into your heart space, and then exhale that feeling down the center of your body to your dantian area. And just keep inhaling through your heart space down to your dantian or sacral chakra. It's almost like it's a bright energy, like a bright ball of light that you're breathing down. And now we can just go back to normal breath and just let your breath flow at its own pace. And also just be thankful for our breath. It's always there for us, and it's something we can always go back to. And we can now prepare for one arm. You can take a deep breath in. Oh. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and stay with that feeling you've created for yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Anka. So we've lost Kamishni now. Okay, for Saturday, having a look at your patterns, whatever's happened negative to you in life, over and over and over and over again. If you've got a pattern of a few times and over the years that the same thing keeps happening, then write down what keeps happening, and we'll talk about that on Saturday. And also in regards to your meditation, try and do 1 2-minute meditation with some sacred elements in it between now and Saturday. And who's going to remember the homework, Megan? You're going to remind me on Saturday, first
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. School teachers are good for that. So they always remember the homework. So that's great. Okay. So thank you very much once again of attending the yogic philosophy part. I love the fact that you guys keep looking at frequencies, keep looking at a practice, keep noticing the little bits that you do. Maybe it's gratitude, that maybe it's meditation, maybe it's aligning with yourself, maybe it's moving your frequencies or being conscious when they go down and doing something about that. Keep looking at those practices, because that is the gold. That is the gold of the philosophy side. That's how you can change your life, is with that. So let me know how that goes. We'll see you all on Saturday. Thank you very much once again. Namaste. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Namaste.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.